Hello po, ito po si Senator Richard Gordon. At ako po ay nagbabati sa inyo ng isang magandang araw at magandang taon araw-araw. At sabihin ko lang po sa inyo, ito ay sa ngalan ng buong Red Cross, Board of Governors at ang Secretary General na si Lisa Zavalla na tumatangkilik sa mga ginagawa ngayon ni Cora de Leon na magkaroon tayo ng kalinga para sa bagong buhay, para sa bagong pagkakataon. At hatid po ito ng Red Cross sa Radyo Pilipinas. Tangkilingin po nyo para marami tayong mapulot na makakatulong sa buhay ninyo. Mabuhay ang Pilipino. Mabuhay po kayo. God bless you. We all love you.
Sa ngalan ng buong pamunuan ng Philippine Broadcasting Service, Radyo Pilipinas, sa panguna ng ating butihing Direktor Bong Aportadera, sa ating Station Manager Senyor Alan Alianige, sa ating mga kabalikat Mr. Maki at Mr. Ray Sampang. At of course, sa ngalan po ng ating butihing kalihim, Martin Andanar ng Presidential Communications Operations Office, muli po sumasa inyo na naman ang isang espesyal na edisyon ng ating Kalinga, hatid ng Red Cross. Samahan po ninyo kami hanggang alas 4 sa kabuuan ng isang makabuluhang talastasan sapagkat napakapalad po natin, ika nga'y masasabi nating isang bahagi ng ating mga pagtatanghal na minsan ay makakapanayam natin ang mga international figure na kabalikat ng ating Philippine Red Cross sapagkat naririyan po ang isa sa mga haligi, ang Head of Delegation ng International Federation of the Red Cross and Crescent Society sa unang bahagdan ng ating episode. At sa ikalawa namang bahagdan, of course, hindi ko muna sasabihin, isang sorpresa sapagkat napapanahon po ang ating pag-uusapan naman ay may kaugnayan din sa selebrasyon ng Chinese New Year. Okay, at sa ngalan po ni Edison Enriquez, sa ngalan ng ating buong pamunuan ng Philippine Red Cross, sa pangunguna ng ating butihing Chair Richard D. Gordon, sa ating pong Secretary General Lisa Zavalla, at sa hanay ng ating mga Board of Governors, sa ating mga RCY Youth at sa ating mga volunteers nationwide, ang inyo pong Kuya Francis nag-aanyaya. Samahan po ninyo kami sa kabuuan ng ating pagtatanghal. At nariyan na, ang ating pong kaagapay, ang ating kabalikat every episode. Walang iba kundi ang ating butihing Governor ng Philippine Red Cross, Corazon Alma de Leon.
Thank you very
Governor
much, Francis.
Cora, a blessed Sunday.
Thank you, Francis. I'm happy to greet Mr. Alberto Bocanegra for first time to guest in our program. But
Yes.
before that, a prayer from Chief Justice Davide when he wrote, "A blessed and beautiful last Sunday, the 30th of January, the month of the Señor Santo Niño de Cebu. Viva Pit Señor." As we come closer to our final triumphant victory against COVID-19, let us live and remain fortified by His message. Always be an image and a reflection of what you want to be. If you want to be loved, you must act with love and practice charity and compassion. Love is patient. Love is kind. If you want kindness, you must be kind too and caring for others. If you want people to be honest with you, you must be truthful. For whatever you give out to others will always return to you 100-fold. Jesus Himself teaches us His golden rule. Do to others whatever you would have them do to you. This is the law and the prophets. He warns us. For the measure which you measure will in return be measured out to you. God bless us and our loved ones always. This is a special message to our guest this afternoon.
Amen.
Again, I want to welcome him. I've met him already, Mr. Alberto Bocanegra. Let's start the ball rolling. Welcome. Go ahead.
Good afternoon and welcome, Mr. Albert.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mrs. Corazon, and thank you, Francis, for having me today with you.
Yeah.
Well,
First,
we would like also to thank you for spending a little of your busy time to be with us in our program. being the head of delegation. How do you find the Philippines for your first time here, Mr. Alberto?
It's my first time here, and I have to say that I've been hosted like a son. I feel so happy here in the Philippines. It's just incredible, and not only me but my family. So they join me, and they just don't want to leave. They want to spend their holidays here. They don't want to move from Manila and from the Philippines. They just want to have a little bit of time to know the country a little bit.
From what country are you then, Mr. Alberto?
I'm from Spain. I'm from the south of Spain, from Andalusia, from a city called Sevilla.
Wow, wow. So it will be a pleasure talking to you for the first half of our program at Governor Cora. Siguro
Yes.
we'll start the ball rolling.
Well, of course, the only words I know is como estad, como está usted, no? And of
Estoy muy
course,
bien.
I feel privileged that I have been to Spain many years back. So, of course, we have 400 years under Spain. The Philippines had been, and therefore we were so comfortable meeting, of course, Spaniards. Although the war, when the war broke out, we were transferred in a way as a people to another country. But that's beside the point. Right now, please tell us where you came from. In other words, not necessarily from Spain, but your engagement in the IFRC and your engagement in Red Cross as a whole, all over the country. Thank you, Mr. Alberto. Where have you been assigned before?
Thank you very
For
much,
Philippines.
Ms. Carazano,
Yes,
Mr.
go ahead.
Francis. So, no, I mean, I'm coming from a kind of a long road behind, no, in terms of operations together with the International Federation of the Red Cross. I also had the privilege to work with the International Committee of the Red Cross. Most of my experience has taken place in the Middle East. So I've been working in countries like Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Jordan, and then the other part of my experience is West Africa. So I've been head of delegation for IFRC in Niger, and I also ensure the interim role of head of cluster for the West Coast. In different moments, in different operations, with the Ebola operation, with the COVID operation, with the situation that we were living with the Boko Haram, that's in the south part of Niger and then the northern part of Nigeria. And more recently, I was posted in Greece, running this operation for the Mediterranean Sea, together with the Hellenic Red Cross, and for coordination also with other actors of the region. So I'm coming from Athens. So that was my previous post. From Athens to the Philippines, and super proud, super happy to be now in Manila with my brothers and sisters from the Philippines.
We, of course, our words of welcome. When did you arrive to the Philippines?
I
How long have
arrived
you
in November, so it's going to be now
That's
3
it.
months.
Only 3
November.
months.
Only
Well,
3 months.
You
Well,
still
right.
have so many places to see, and
Indeed.
but I think your areas of concern before have been more conflict-ridden. I think we want you to enjoy your stay in the Philippines, although we will be facing an election. You're going to watch the kind of elections we have in the Philippines, as you will still, I'm sure, will be here during the period. No? But
Absolutely.
right now, I know we met already in terms of the push for the emergency fund relief. Can you update us and tell maybe the listeners, those watching us, how does it work, this emergency relief, which we already discussed during our January meeting? Go ahead, Mr. Bocanegra.
Sorry, you're referring to the pandemic, to the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think well, we've been coordinating from the beginning with the Philippine Red Cross. I think we've learned so much from this situation and from this operation. It's been so difficult. I remember back in March 2020, where nobody knew what was going to happen and how to engage with this situation with a global pandemic. So, and there were, of course, national societies that were better prepared and better ready to confront with the situation, to provide the best support. And I think the Philippine Red Cross has been an example worldwide on how to better respond to this crisis, to this situation. The Federation launched an emergency appeal, as you know, that was back in 2020. And then the idea from our side was also to support the response in a structured manner, not knowing how the situation was going to evolve and not knowing what was the frequency of the different waves that were going to be confronted in overall the next months and years. Before I mention on the response that we are having together on this COVID-19 emergency appeal, probably one of the things that I would like to say, because I think it's interesting to mention, is it's how vulnerable we are. And I think that's something that we have learned. This vulnerability, I think we thought that with this level of development, we were ready to confront any situation. But it shows how weak we are, and at the same time, it showed that working together and this concept of solidarity, we could be able to reach together to much higher objectives. No? For the side of the federation, and together with full coordination with the national societies, the idea was to provide with a structured response. So I would say that this response was based on 4 levels of action, what we call the pillars. No? Pillar 1 was based more on community awareness. So that was mainly what we were doing together with the Philippine Red Cross at the beginning. No? It was more related to spreading messages about social distancing. It was more about community surveillance. It was also about doing PCR tests, and that is something that the National Society Philippine Red Cross has done very, very, very strongly. Supporting also the vaccination campaign has been also part of this response that we've been collaborating together with the leadership of the Philippine Red Cross. There's another pillar, which is pillar 2, which is more related to health. And as you know, in this response, the health system, the national health system, has been very much affected. It has been overstretched, and then with the auxiliary role of the Philippine Red Cross, we were able to provide with the adequate co-support in providing services. So we supported in setting up medical tents, quarantine centers, supporting also with testing centers, that's in molecular labs, supporting transportation of infected populations. So that's the second pillar. There's a third pillar, which is more related to supporting the community actions. So that is multipurpose cash grants, food items, NFIs. That's the third part. And I would mention a 4th component in this response, which is also part of what the Federation does, which is supporting also the National Society Philippine Red Cross in becoming stronger, bigger, supporting also the chapters by providing capacity building, training, by providing also equipment. So overall, this has been the collaboration that we have done through this emergency appeal. And I would say that it has been a learning process. Sometimes we say that the Federation is ill to teach. I think we receive more and we learn more from the Philippine Red Cross and what the Federation was able to provide us as input. So that was an amazing experience, and I think it was a win-win to work together with the Philippine Red Cross. It's an incredible experience.
You are so right. Of course, with the leadership of our chairman, Senator Richard Gordon, we cannot afford to fail, because the expectation is also such that very important for Red Cross as auxiliary to government to do more. In fact, the message is unstoppable. You know, we cannot stop. We ought to be unstoppable the Red Cross way. And I think having met you and I've seen you in action, I feel that we're so blessed that you are the one assigned now in the Philippines, and you've had more turbulent situations in other countries, but I hope that it will be more peaceful for you in the Philippines to enjoy. I want you to feel that the Philippines is a time to relax. No, not much crisis, except of course the typhoon, which affected quite a number of regions. Have you traveled to other areas already in the country? Where have you been?
Regarding Typhoon, Odette, regarding the support to the operation, well, I think you mentioned something very important. I think you mentioned about the leadership of the Philippine Red Cross, and I think having these persons like Chairman Gordon or like Elizabeth Zavala, Secretary General, I mean, I've learned so much from them, and I learned from the leadership that and if the Philippine Red Cross has been able to reach that level of engagement, professionalism, thanks to this visionary way of thinking, always thinking beyond what the needs are, no? And that is something really, really incredible. We were planning to do a field trip to the areas affected.
Yes.
So, which is, the devastation has been spread all over the country. Yeah? So the idea that we were discussing together with Chairman Gordon and with the Secretary General, Elizabeth Zavala, was to go and visit some of the places. We were planning to go to Cebu, to Bohol, Surigao del Norte, Binagat, Siargao. And we were going to do that together with a group of people, professionals, and also colleagues from some, in this case, one embassy, to go and visit those places. The problem was that we had to do a PCR test before traveling. And in my case, the day that I did the test, I tested positive. So I couldn't travel. So I got here. I have to stay here. So the trip went with the senior management of the Philippine Red Cross. They were able to go to the places, but unfortunately, I think it was a good opportunity for me to visit the Philippines, to visit the affected areas. But unfortunately, I couldn't travel. I couldn't go to those places. Hopefully, I will have another opportunity very soon.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
but
go ahead,
siguro,
Francis.
Governor Cora, siguro magandang maitanong natin kay Mr. Albert. You have already positioned some projects intended for these typhoon ravaged areas in the Philippines, which you have had a great idea already, and with your tie-up with the Philippine Red Cross. What are these specific projects intended for them?
Yeah, the projects that we have are in full, rely fully on what the Philippine Red Cross is planning to do. So we are there together with them. So we plan together, and there's no one better than the Philippine Red Cross to know what the needs are and where these needs are. And good thing also from the Philippine Red Cross is that they have this network of chapters, branches, with this network of volunteers that have been doing assessments day and night, non-stop, to be able to feed this with our analysis and then come up with proper responses. So basically what's happened is in the case of an emergency, we come up with what we call an emergency appeal. So that's a plan, it's a response to the need. So we came up with an emergency appeal that was 2 days after this typhoon hit the country. And I would say that the plan has, it's a 20 million CHF, Swiss franc, program that covers relief, recovery, and post-recovery for a time frame of 24 months. The thing here is that we're not planning just to provide relief to the population, but livelihood has also been affected. So we're talking about a high population density in those affected areas. Agriculture, tourism has also been disrupted, and also following the guidance of Chairman Gordon, of Elizabeth Zavala and the team, the idea was also to support in providing assistance to the population affected to recover from this crisis. The program, I would say, has several components. One of those is related to shelter and housing. And it was clear from the beginning from the Philippine Red Cross that we have to work a lot on rebuilding the shelter for the communities affected, so the population affected. So that goes from emergency shelter assistance, shelter repairs assistance, and full shelter assistance. Take into consideration that there's more than 1.2 million houses damaged and almost 350,000 totally destroyed. The other component of our response is, as I said before, livelihood. So we need to support the return to a normal livelihood to the population. The third component is health and care. So there's a strong component of supporting health in this program. So that is supporting emergency for psychosocial support, it's water vector and borne disease prevention. It's about community disease prevention. But there's also a component related to water, sanitation, and hygiene. And again, in any emergency, together with shelter, it's also super important to provide proper access to water. So access to water is also for the Philippine Red Cross one of the main areas of expertise, and where they're also targeting to support the local communities and the population. It's a wide range of activities that are planned within this emergency appeal. And this is implemented, it's already been implemented since day one by an incredible professional team from the Philippine Red Cross. So just a big thanks and big bravo for this team.
But have you encountered some challenges in responding to these different disasters?
All of them. I mean, you name them, and I can and I can tell you. I mean, it's not an easy operation.
Right.
I think there's no operation without a challenge. I think the first challenge that we were confronted to, we're confronting this type of operations is first one is about fundraising, because you need funds to be able to implement your program. So fundraising does not come, the first day with the amount of funds that you need to respond. So you need to have a fundraising strategy. You need to call to people to support the operation. You need to explain what you're doing and what you're planning to do and the needs. The second thing is also about coordination. And that's about having all the actors working together. And that is something that also I learned a lot from Chairman Gordon. So he wants to have this unity from the Red Cross. So all the actors, Red Cross representatives working together as one. That's the idea. That includes also the International Committee of the Red Cross. So, and I would say the third thing is also about the situation in the Philippines in terms of exposure to climate change. So what is happening can happen anytime. I mean, we're not seeing this typhoon happening in this time of the year. I mean, anything can happen. So before it was between June, July until November. Now it's going to December. So it's this evolving situation of climate change, something that worries everyone. So very much concerned about this. And I think it was Ban Ki-moon who said, we don't have a plan B because there's no planet B. So we need to be very careful on how we engage in terms of this climate change. And the Philippines is one of the countries affected by this.
Okay, Governor Cora.
Yes, you are so right. In fact, even if you have the resources to bring to the areas, sometimes these areas cannot be reached. Difficulties because of the damage that has affected the roads, the bridges, etc., and that adds difficulties rather. That adds discomfort in being able to reach many of these communities. But suffice it to say, as you will notice, in terms of what Chairman Gordon has done, he has improved really the logistics of Philippine Red Cross to make sure that water is needed. We have food trucks to be able to bring the food, and of course shelter assistance, and then of course cash assistance to families who are not able to cope, to the what we call the most vulnerable. The message is delivered to the people, but at the same time, the people should rise up to the problem and should not depend only on government, on the Red Cross, but should also arm themselves with skills, and that is why livelihood has been put in place. I think you have seen that the idea is not to make them stay long in relief, but to get them to move faster in their resource development. And you will notice that it is not that easy. It's easier said than done. And I think you will realize that because we are an archipelago, the places are not easy to reach. And the fact that you haven't been to some of the areas, I hope that before you leave your assignment, you'll be able to see as many places. Because even if they're devastated, there are lots of beautiful places that I don't want you to miss. I want you to leave our country feeling that you've seen so much of the Philippines. Maybe we don't have much time. Maybe last words?
Yes.
Okay. Any more question?
Siguro, Governor, hingan na lang natin ng mga best words. Si Senyor Alberto, how he will describe the Philippine Red Cross.
Words of wisdom.
A good question. I've worked with so many Red Cross and Red Crescents throughout my career, and I would say something here. I would say it's a real privilege to work with the Philippine Red Cross. It's something that defines them, that defines you. It's, I would say, effective, efficient, and proactive. That's something that for me it's clear. Chairman Gordon says always first, always ready, always there. But let me add something here. Always humble. And I'm telling you this because for me, being humble is something that defines the Philippine Red Cross. So with all the knowledge that has been accumulated by the National Society, by the Philippine Red Cross, with all the capacities that you have going everywhere, I mean, you've even gone outside the country to support other operations. You're so humble in the way you approach the communities and the way you approach your partners, like me, or like the International Committee of Red Cross. We feel so proud of that. That for me is something that I bring from the Philippine Red Cross, this humble feeling of being the best in doing what you're doing. That's just great. And I think that is something that defines very well the Philippine Red Cross.
Okay,
Just a
Governor
note.
Cora.
Just
Meron
a note.
pong
Francis, just a note. You were assigned in Lebanon, and I remember I was Secretary General when there was this Lebanon crisis, and no less than Chairman Gordon called up Lebanon Red Cross to check if there are Filipinos there. That's the kind of work that Chairman Gordon
Amazing.
did during my time. So,
Amazing.
Francis, did you want anything else?
meron tayong text dito mula kay Mr. Edison Enriquez.
Okay.
Nais niyang malaman kay Mr. Alberto kung meron daw siyang alam na Tagalog word dahil nosebleed na raw siya.
Our communications person is asking if you have learned any Tagalog words, because Filipino words, because our radio is really Radio Pilipinas, and so they are thrilled to hear from you what you already know about words that you can convey to the listeners, that you already learned a few words in the Philippines.
I will need to learn a little bit more Tagalog. I didn't have the chance to be that exposed to the language. Salamat, I would say, and thank you very much for having. I promise next time I will be interviewed, I will say something more deep in Tagalog. Absolutely.
You mentioned
Okay.
that you're with your family. You have
Yeah,
your
correct.
wife and children with you,
Correct. I'm here with my wife and one kid.
and one kid. Good for you.
Ah,
So, Francis, are we done?
Yes.
Meron pa tayong tanong?
wala na, Governor
Okay.
Cora. So we would like to thank Mr. Alberto Bocanegra, Head of Delegation, International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Society, for hosting and guesting in our episode today. Muchísimas gracias, Señor Alberto.
Muchísimas gracias. Muy amable, Mr. Francis. Thank you very much, Ms. Corazon.
Yes.
Pleasure.
We hope to
Honor.
invite you again when you're already settled after some time to gather your impression. But I also like your point about the need for honesty, humility. I think those are very, very important qualities that we should see also with the Red Cross. Thank you very,
you very
much for
much.
coming
Thank
over.
you very much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you very
thank
much.
you.
Mga kaibigan, saglit lamang po, pararaanin muna natin ang ilang paalala mula sa inyong himpilan.
Freedom of Information sa radyo, FOI. Ano man ang nais malaman, mga transaksyon at impormasyon mula sa pamahalaan, posible nang makuha dahil sa Freedom of Information Program. Freedom of Information sa radyo, FOI. Sa patnubay ng PCOO, gagabayan tayo sa step-by-step process sa pag-request ng mga impormasyon, official records, public records, at iba pang dokumento mula sa gobyerno. Lahat ay ipapaliwanag, lahat ay ipapakita, dahil ito ay inyong karapatan. Freedom of Information sa radyo. Kasama si Asek Chris Ablan. Tuwing Biyernes, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi. Dito sa Radyo Pilipinas, 738 AM.
Sa pagkakatala ng Omicron COVID variant sa bansa, mga mamamayan ay mas hinihikayat na magpabakuna.
May pag-aaral na nakikita na 19% of households are affected by Omicron compared to 8.5% sa Delta. So, importanteng lahat po sa household ay nabakunahan.
Patuloy pa rin ipinapaalala ng DOH na ang banta ng COVID para sa mga batang hindi pa mabakunahan ay nananatiling mataas pa rin.
Meron din sa same study that children of unvaccinated parents appear to be at risk. So, importante mabakunahan po yung lolo, yung lola, yung mga magulang para maproteksyonan lalo na yung bata na hindi pa kasama sa ating bakunahan.
Kumpletong balita, impormasyong tama, Radyo Pilipinas.
Ma, i-register na po kita sa vaccine, ha?
Ay, wag na nak. Baka kung ano-ano pa ang kailangan. Baka may babayaran pa.
Ma, wag kang mag-alala. Libre po yung bakuna. Ang isipin mo po, pag nabakunahan ka, wala na po yung chance na magkaroon ka ng malalang COVID.
All vaccines of our people are given for free. Huwag kayong magbayad. Pumunta lang kayo doon sa nagbabakuna at babakunahan ka. Libre.
Kung turn nyo na, magpabakuna na. Res bakuna na. Isang mensahe mula sa Radyo Pilipinas.
Okay mga kaibigan, tuloy-tuloy na tayo. At binabagtas na natin na ikalawang bahagdan ng ating episode. Gaya ng sinabi ko sa inyo kanina mga kaibigan, ito'y ikangay masasabi nating isang napakalaking kaalaman, dagdag kabatiran. Ano ho? Ang Metro Manila po at 7 pang lugar sa bansa bababa na sa Alert Level 2. Simula yan sa Pebrero 1 hanggang 15 ng taong kasalukuyan. Yan po ang kinumpirma ni Cabinet Secretary Carlo Alexi Nograles kaninang umaga. At inilagay na po ng Interagency Task Force ang National Capital Region at 7 pang mga lalawigan sa ilalim ng Alert Level 2 simula sa darating na Martes, February 1st. Yan po ang anunsyo. At nagsimula na rin po ang Million Volunteer Run 6 nitong nakalipas na January 20, 2022. Ayan, okay. At speaking of February 1st, kung Hey Pachoy, ayan Chinese New Year na. At napaka-tugma, Governor Cora, sapagkat ang ating pong panauhin sa ating ikalawang segmento ay ang kilalang ikangay Fengshui expert. Walang iba kung hindi si Madam Suzette Arandela. Madam Suzette!
Hi! Hello!
Maligayang araw po sa inyo at maraming salamat at nariyan na naman kayo sa ating episode.
Yes, ikaw pa. Hindi ko pwedeng tanggihan.
Aba siyempre, inaasahan namin ni Governor Cora na hindi mo kami bibiguin sapagkat napapanahon ang mga pampaswerte na inilalaan mo para sa amin.
Yes. February 2nd yun, di ba?
February 1st.
So Tuesday. So Martes.
Yes, Governor.
At inihanda na ni Madam Suzette, Governor Cora, yung mga pampaswerte daw na ibibigay sa atin maliban kay Edison.
Paano kayo nagsimula na maging ganyang expert? Saan nanggaling yan?
Actually, ang lolo ko ay isang psychic and feng shui consultant.
Yes,
so
yes.
It runs in the blood.
Parang itinatransfer, parang hereditary. Hereditary, okay. So, ano naman ang damdamin nyo kasi maraming hindi nagpapagawa ng bahay hanggat di napupungsoy, di ba? Yun ang narinig ko lang, pagpapagawa ng bahay at saka yung parang alamin kung ano talaga yung swerte. Siguro ikwento nyo nga, ano ba yung simula ng pungsoy? Kailan ba nagsimula yan? Ano ba history niya?
Usually, ang history niyan, nanggaling yan sa China. At ito yung matagal na, minana na lang natin. Until now, sinusunod natin, parang hindi naman ito talaga parang sa first issues, pero connected ito sa science. Kaya talagang in-acknowledge ito. At tiningnan natin na mas maganda kasi makakatulong ito sa ating kabuhayan.
Yes.
Para makaiwas tayo sa sakit, sa maging maswerte sa bawat taon at magkaroon ng magandang kabuhayan.
Okay. Siguro Governor Cora, ang unang dapat na mailarawan ngayon ni Madam Suzette ang mga positive outlook natin para sa Year of the Water Tiger ngayong 2022.
Okay. Ang year 2022, Year of the Water Tiger, ay merong dalang positive and
Negative.
yes.
Negative.
It's extremely negative events. May kaguluhan. Pero yung mga good points or mga positive na nakikita ko ngayon taong ito, dahil sa meron ding hatid na swerte ang tiger, like fame, prosperity and wealth, unti-unting magkakaroon ng pagbabago ang ating economy. Unti-unti itong babangon towards the second quarter of the year. And then yung ating first quarter, medyo naka-flat lang, nakatigil, waiting for something na maaring mangyaring maganda. At yung nakikita ko na magandang mangyayari sa atin, yung ating kinatatakutang virus, aalis na.
Etchapuera na.
Matapos ang taon. So, magkakaroon din ng pagbabago. Siyempre, magiging masaya ang mga tao dahil makaka-adapt na sila doon sa ating environment. Wala ka ng katatakutan. Yung nakikita ko pang isang point na nakikita kong maganda, meron tayong mananalong Pilipina sa international pageant.
Talaga?
So, yes, maganda to. At ang isa pang nakikita ko ay merong mga Pilipinong mananalo sa Southeast Asian Game this year.
Okay. Now, Madam Suzette, ano-ano ba ang mga lucky at unlucky for the Year of the Water Tiger? Sino ba ang mga papalarin sa sinasabi mong wealth, health, at career for 2022?
Oo, ang mga taong pinanganak sa Year of the Rat ay isa sa pinakamaswerte. Bakit? Yung victory banner na andon sa kanyang direksyon. So may tendency siyang ng ibang bansa, ma-promote, magkaroon ng, if single, magkaroon ng mamimit na magiging right partner. Ikalawang nakikita ko is dragon. Bakit? Dahil ang romance luck na andon sa direksyon ng dragon. So, maswerte siya sa relasyon. Okay. So, kung single dragon, meron na siya at naghahanap siya ng magiging kapartner, mamimit niya to. Meron din siyang swerte sa career. So, posibleng ma-promote sa trabaho. Ang ikatlong nakikita ko is horse. In all aspect, ang horse napakaswerte kasi naandun yung kanyang windfall luck. So, walang masyadong problema akong nakikita. Magkameron man, mild lang. And next is dog. Kasi ang dog naandun naman sa maswerte rin siya. Promotion, career, health, naandun na rin sa kanya. So, at saka marami siya. Kung magkameron man siya ng problema, merong mga helpful star o mga lucky star na tutulong sa kanya. At yung nakikita ko, ang isa pa is pig. Pero may up and down in pig. Kasi pagdating sa relationship, prone siya sa away. So kailangan maging cool lang siya. Pero napakaswerte siya kung meron siyang negosyo. At isa pang nakikita kong lucky is ox. In all aspect, very lucky ang ox. So walang problema sa ox. No question asked.
Okay,
Memorize mo ba? Memorize mo ba kung kung sa mga age, kumbaga 1941 pinanganak, anong year of the yan? Memorize mo ba?
1941 is, kapatingin ko sandali. Kasi ang daming niyan eh.
Hindi, kasi gusto ko mag-benefit ako sa konsulta na to. 1941.
Oh, so 1941. Sandali ho, tinitingnan pa ng
Tapos sabihin mo, Francis, kung kailan ka pinanganak. Kasi bata ka pa eh.
46 ako, 46.
Isang 41 tsaka isang 46. Dapat pala earlier na konsulta na natin. Ano yung 41?
Madam, Cora.
Year of?
Cora, Year of the Snake. So,
snake
metal. Metal snake. So, ang snake, medyo kailangan mong protect yourself.
Yes,
from
watch out.
negative events.
Magkasakit,
Especially your health. At
yes,
saka,
yes.
wag kang mainitin ng
Trusting.
ulo.
Ay,
hindi.
nako. Sus Maria Josep. Hindi.
And anything, prone ka rin sa scam, governor, so careful. Huwag kang basta papasok sa isang negosyo na hindi ka masyadong
nako talaga wala akong hilig dyan. Kasi alam ko na maraming nanlolo ko. Ayokong maloko. Si Francis, born 1946.
1946.
Meron kang
1946,
mag-check?
dog. Oh.
Year naman, dog.
Kaya
Francis,
pala tahol ng tahol si Francis.
1946 is fire dog.
Fire
So
dog.
very lucky din ang dog ngayong year na to.
Yeah.
So maswerte sa trabaho, maswerte sa pag-ibig, Francis. Baka meron pa ha.
Wala na. Stick to one tayo. Laos na.
Kababayan ko ang iyong ang iyong partner.
Madam Suzette, para sa kabatiran ng mga nakikinig sa atin, pwede bang lahad ang 12 Chinese zodiac sign?
So,
birth, January, February, ganon. Sa libro mo na lang, sa libro mo.
Akin nga din. Hindi yan. Yung nandito sa Sandali. Hindi sinabi sa akin.
Hindi, kasi gusto namin yung mga nakikinig can relate. Kasi yun naman naantay na. Pero some of them, they know. Pero hindi alam nila kung ano ibig sabihin. Diba?
Ng kanila, yung kanilang
now I know I'm year of
luck
business.
this year. Yung luck this year. So yung nabanggit ko na, yung rat, very lucky. So very lucky siya ngayon taong ito. Yung mga nag-a-apply, yung daga, oo. Yung mga nag-a-apply sa abroad, may tendency magkaroon ng trabaho. Or kung nagbabalak siyang mag-migrate, makakaalis siya ngayon taong ito. Sa career, may trabaho akong nakikita sa kanya na maganda. And then relationship, okay. Ang iingatan ng rat, yung kanyang health. Kasi prone siya sa surgery. So yun ang iingatan ng rat. And ang ox, very lucky this year. Kasi yung wealth star, nasa direction ng ox. So yung prosperity star, naandun sa kanya. Kaya, no question asked. Talagang maganda. Magkaroon man ng problema, konti-konti. Pero, very lucky pa rin siya. Ang
pero
tiger,
this year of the tayo?
Year of the tiger.
Tiger. Water tiger. Yeah.
Water tiger.
Go ahead,
go ahead. Ang susunod is tiger. Ang tiger merong up and down na luck. So maaring yung first, second quarter medyo maayos siya, but ang third, fourth quarter mag-ingat siya, especially yung health. And alam mo naman ang tiger medyo hot-tempered. So ang tendency niya magkaroon ng argumentation with friends, with relatives, or sa mga kasamahan sa trabaho. So careful ang tiger. Ang maswerte sa tiger is a water tiger and wood tiger. Sila ang maswerte sa mga taong ito. Kasi maganda ang kanilang career. Rabbit, isa sa maswerte sa taong ito ang rabbit. So, ang iiwasan lang ng rabbit, prone siya sa lawsuit, sa relationship, kasi may possible breakup sa kanya. So, ang kailangan niya talagang maging maingat sa kanyang partner. Not only sa partner, siguro sa mga in-laws, sa relatives, yun ang kailangan pag-ingatan. So, mas maganda kung magiging lang siya, yung tahimik, tapos keep cool. No, hindi iwasan niya ang magsalita ng masasakit. Ang susunod, dragon. No, kasi ang dragon yung sinabi
ano year yan? Ang dragon, anong birthday niyan? Ang dragon.
Ang year of the dragon, 1964.
64.
Mga, 1964.
Hindi yan month no? Year yan year.
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 Isa pang dragon is
Minsan 4 na years yan minsan di ba?
Oo.
Iba-ibang
Hindi,
taon.
ano.
Hindi bale. Just go with what, just describe pag Year of the Dragon, tinamaan.
Ang Year of the Dragon, lucky this year. So, maswerte siya, especially relationship. So, yung romance luck, nasa kanya. Kaya, kaya kung single, naghahanap ng partner, makakilala siya ngayong year na to. And maganda rin yung kanyang career, kung may negosyo, magkakaroon siya ng good fortune. Ang susunod is a snake. So, kailangan ang snake be aware. Kailangan niyang magkaroon ng protection para sa sarili niya. Lalo na iwasan yung pagiging hot-tempered. Pero marami siyang travel. Yung nakikita ko sa kanya. Maraming travel. And then, pagdating sa opportunity.
Totoo yun.
Pagdating sa wealth, okay.
So, totoo pa rin yan.
Governor Cora, yung health. So, be careful with
Yes,
your
I know. I'm diabetic and I'm hypertensive. And I'm very careful. And I'm already 80 years old. So, I cannot fiddle with my health. I really have to be very serious.
Hindi ka mukhang 80 years old.
Ayoko magmukhang 80
mukhang
years
bata.
Kasi when you enjoy life, hindi ka naman tatanda eh. Talagang alam mo, mayroon kang ginagawang positive, always positive. At saka pag nasa Red Cross ka, hindi kita tatanda. Ano si Francis, nauubos lang ang buhok.
Ay, sus Mario.
Hindi tumatanda.
Okay, go ahead, madam.
Ang horse, isa nga rin siya sa pinakalaki sa taong ito dahil yung windfall luck, yung future prosperity nandun sa kanya. So, maraming opportunities ang dadating sa kanya ngayong taong ito. Ang sheep, mag-iingat sa sakit. Mag-iingat siya. Usually, mababait yung mga taong pinanganak sa Year of the Sheep. So, mag-ingat siya sa kanyang pakikisama, sa kanyang mga kaibigan, sa asawa, and then yung kanyang health din, ang kanyang pag-iingatan, especially accident. So, be careful with accident sa sheep people. Ang pinaka-unlucky ngayong year na to, or very weak unluck, is yung mga taong pinanganak sa Year of the Monkey. So yun talaga kailangan mag-ingat siyang mabuti dahil prone siya sa accident, posibleng magkaroon ng sakit, especially sa stomach. And then yung nakikita ko sa kanya, yung accident is very kitang-kita sa kanyang sign, and loss of job. So be very careful. So siguro kailangan makisama siya. Pag-ingatan ng trabaho. Edison. Edison, pag-ingatan mo. So yun
Sino
naman,
pa?
mga gabay lang. Hindi pa.
Ilan ba? Marami yan eh. Sige.
Rooster, dog, pig, yun na lang. So ang susunod is rooster. Ang rooster, tama lang, kumbaga man average luck ang sa kanya. Yung health lang din ang kanyang pag-iingatan ngayong taong ito, pero marami din siyang travel. So may mga local travel, tapos meron din siyang travel sa ibang bansa. And kung merong negosyo, yung nakikita ko, magpo-prosper din siya. Dog, isa rin sa pinaka maswerteng animal ngayong year na to. Kasi kung magtatayo siya ng negosyo, talagang kikita ito. Baka apaw yung pera niya. Ang susunod yung pig. Ang pig, very lucky din. So, mas marami naman lucky animals this year. So, pagdating sa business, okay siya. But be careful in relationship kasi prone siya sa separation, divorce, and then, or anything na magkakaroon ng separation sa love life. So,
okay.
Wow.
Nako, Governor Cora, samantalayin natin, ihabol natin ang oras. Ano ang nakikita mo naman prediction para sa 2022 sa mga taga Red Cross at sa bansa natin?
Yung sa Red Cross na nakikita ko, maganda naman. Kaya lang merong mga changes. Possible na magkaroon ng change sa management. So, oo, for mga positive naman yung nakikita ko. If ever na magkaroon ng changes sa sa administration, it's maganda naman yung nangyayari.
Okay.
It's for positive. Sa atin sa Pilipinas, marami yun nga sinabi ko, merong mga extremely negative events. Mas marami tayong natural calamities kasi man-made calamities. Yung natural calamities, alam na natin dahil meron tayong lindol. And malalakas ang lindol ngayong taong ito. Merong pagputok ng bulkan. So magiging very active ang Red Cross ngayong year na to. So merong kaguluhan, hindi mawawala. Especially ang election is coming. Hindi mawawala yung kaguluhan pero magiging maayos naman in the end.
Okay. Okay. Governor Cora, may itatanong ka? Kasi
wala na, pero siguro sabi naman niya parang na-inherit niya sa grandfather niya yan. Yung kanyang skill. Yan naman hindi nabibili yan. Nai-inherit yan. Yung kagalingan. Yung mga, miski yung mga nanghuhula, yun either pinag-aralan at by experience, merong ano. Pero I think mahalaga na gamitin ito sa positive. Gamitin to hindi sa matakot. Kung sinabi sa'yo, pag sinabi sa'yo mag-ingat, talagang sumunod tayo mag-ingat. There is no harm. Pag sinabing, kasi ako, one time nahulaan ako, sinabing, magkakaroon ako ng bagong bahay. Yung pala masusunog ang bahay namin. O, tama naman, nasunog. Bagong bahay.
Bago.
At sinabi din sa akin, magbabago ako ng trabaho. Tama naman, naging chairman ako ng civil service. Akala ko DSWD na ako until I retired. Lumipat ako ng trabaho sa Civil Service Commission. Talagang nangyari. Yung hula na sinabi sa akin, makakaroon ako ng ibang trabaho. At saka yung masusunog ang bahay namin, yung pala nasunog na talaga. Dalawang events na naniwala ako sa nanghula. Totoo yun.
Okay, so nako, kinakapos na tayo ng oras. Madam Suzette, ano po ba mga pampaswerte ngayon para sa atin kung sakasakali? Bukod pa doon sa mga pampaswerteng ipadadating mo sa amin ni Governor Cora.
Marami namang pwede nating gamitin pampaswerte. Usually, ang mga sinasabi ko para to protect yourself at maging lucky, gumamit ka ng bracelet like tourmaline. Tourmaline bracelet.
Tourmaline.
Crystal for good health. And then, yung mga bagay na magdadala ng luck sa atin. Like maglagay ka ng ng mga coins sa bintana na 8 coins sa bintana, sa front door, sa back door, lahat ng mga yan dapat lagyan.
Ang ilalagay mo lang dyan, yung mga coins lang na walang halaga, nakawin man, hindi bale. Hindi malaki. Joke lang. Magagalit ang
Paano ka makokontak, Madam Suzette?
Ang cellphone ko, 0908-864-9813. Ang FB account ko, Madam Suzette or Suzette Arandela.
Galing.
Maraming salamat, Madam Suzette. At sa mga susunod pa, baka sakaling meron pa kaming mga nais itanong, available ka naman sa pamagitan ni Edison, makokontak ka agad.
Yes.
Nagte-training yata si Edison.
Nag-aaral siya na maging fengshui expert din.
No, but I really believe also na kailangan let us be responsible in the information we have and how to use it the best way we can. Tama si Madam Suzette na itong information na to, it is up to us how to use it. Pag sinabi tayo health, abay talaga alagaan yung health mo. Kasi ang buhay mo nakasalalay sa kalusugan.
Okay. At saka, samahan na natin ng maraming dasal.
Yes. Definitely. Definitely.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Suzette Arandela, mga kaibigan. Ang kilalang fengshui expert. Okay. At sa ngalan po ng ating kabalikat, Governor Cora Alma de Leon, ang ating pong kaagapay tuwi-tuwi na, at siyempre pa sa ngalan ni Edison Enriquez, at sa buong pamunuan ng Philippine Red Cross sa pangunguna ni Chairman Richard D. Gordon, ang ating Secretary General Liza Zavalya at ang ating hanay ng mga Board of Governors kasama ng ating mga volunteers at RCY nationwide, worldwide, ang inyo pong Kuya Francis, minsan pa nag-iwan ng mga katagang get out and help make today a better tomorrow. God bless. Until next week, maraming salamat po.
We know you're always on the go. Pero ang mahuli sa balita is always a big no-no. Kaya Radyo Pilipinas is here to keep you updated. Reliable news delivered to you as it happens. Para sure na wala kang mamimiss. Bookmark our website at